to solve.
This is a bird feeder, and everything to my left is my attempt at making it squirrel proof. If they want the bird seed, they will first need to pass through what is basically an 8-part Ninja Warrior obstacle course for squirrels. This course is extremely challenging.
Who the fuck has time for this shit?
It is not for the timid of heart. But out of the gate, I will admit that in hindsight, I completely underestimated my adversary. Now, if you're wondering why I would go through all this trouble, we need to go back 8 weeks ago when I found myself stuck at home and very bored. So I installed a bird feeder and decided to become a bird watcher. And it was just so lovely. Until they showed up. Now luckily
Squirrels
my bird feeder
everything.
had a wire cage around it, big enough for the birds to slip inside, but small enough to prevent the squirrels from getting the food. And that worked really well until right here. For me, this was like the moment in Jurassic Park when they realized the velociraptors can open door handles. And once the door was open, it was clear this wasn't their first rodeo.
What the fuck? He just goes ham.
They basically cleared this whole tube of birdseed by the end of the day. Mind you, this
bird
bird feeder was
fuck.
advertised as being squirrel-proof. So I bought another squirrel-proof bird feeder to replace it. It's got this outer cage.
Squirrels fucked my shit,
by
dude. When I lived in Lake Tahoe, I had this little garden. I made, I decided to make some strawberry plants. And I was so happy with my strawberry plants, bro. I planted those things myself, and I made them and everything. And I was like, fuck yeah, I'm going to have some strawberries. And like, I was like imagining that I was going to have these like big strawberries. Fucking squirrels ate all that shit overnight, dude. They just popped in there, fucking ate the whole thing. So then I put up a fence. They fucking got over the fence. So I built a bigger fence, and then they dug under the fence. And then they dug up into the fucking garden and they ate them anyway. And this happened like fucking 4 times. And then they would sit in the garden and I would come out and they wouldn't even give a fuck. They wouldn't even run away. They just look at me and they'd be like, ah! And I'd be like, fuck off, dumbass. Like, God, I hate you. And like, they would just eat all my shit and there was nothing I could do about it. And eventually I gave up. Like, I actually couldn't fucking do anything. It was just... They won.
And so if a bird comes and lands here, it doesn't weigh that much and it has access to the seeds. However, if a squirrel comes, they'll grab onto this cage. Its weight will force the springs down, thereby preventing access to the seeds. I have no idea how the squirrels could possibly outsmart this, but let's see. And this one worked exactly as intended. You can see the birds love it, but when the squirrel comes along, the cage shifts down and now all the seed ports are covered up. Every time they tried, it was the same results. However, the next morning, this guy manages to unclip the springs that hold the cage up, which means the cage stays in the lowered position where it blocks all the seed openings. Problem with that is now they can get to the lid. But this bird feeder lid doesn't hinge open to give direct access, so he goes with a different tactic, where he now has access to all the birdseed he wants. And so I decided I would try one more bird feeder design. Okay.
Holy shit, why are we...
It almost feels intentional.
YouTube!
This one's supposed to work well
Chill
because
out.
it's got this baffle, which is supposed to keep the
Thank
squirrels
God for
from
the
just
blur,
coming
dude.
straight down and getting to the seeds. And more importantly, there's no way for them to rip this off. We'll see.
Imagine if my first ban on Twitch is a fucking squirrel ass, dude. I'm fucking dunzo, dude.
One debuted to similar
Thank God
results.
for the blur.
As he hangs by a few toes, this is when I really started to gain an appreciation for what they were capable of. It definitely seemed like this bird feeder was their favorite. Okay. Yeah, they're flexing on me for sure. And at this point, a plan was forming in my head, but just to be thorough, I moved the post away from the fence, and I can't say I was surprised when they just climbed it. Nor was I surprised to see they could shimmy up and down a small metal pole, or even a large one for that matter. And whether they could climb a certain pole material was a moot point anyways because of this. Look at this! These guys are basically freaking rodent-sized Simone Biles.
That's so insane.
And on some level, this is what it felt like when someone stole a package from my porch that didn't belong to them, and I harnessed that indignation, spending a year designing the glitter bomb bait package.
It's this guy. I know this guy. This guy is a fucking I would never want this person as an enemy. I would never upset this person. I would never pick a fight with this person. This is the person that someone stole an Amazon package from him, and he spent like a fucking year building some fucking insane contraption to just fuck this person over. This guy is literally like some kind of fucking deranged Batman.
Hello.
Like,
complete with special fragrances. Oh. If I could design a package to deter thieves, could I design a bird feeder to deter squirrels? And so after a couple weeks of brainstorming, designing, and building with my buddy John, we put it all together in this 20-second build montage.
This is hardcore.
Here are the basic elements. For starters, here's where I've placed their favorite bird feeder, at the end of the course. And to sweeten the deal, right below that, there's a trap door. And if they step here, it releases a butt ton of walnuts and unfurls some celebratory banners. Why walnuts? I'm glad you asked. I'm using walnuts because over the course of a week, I put out a buffet of 7 different nuts and seeds.
And they just eat all of them?
All 4 times I repeated the experiment, walnuts were always the one they ate first.
Probably because they're more the most calorically dense of any nuts. I know that from my nutrition training.
Field, as the birds can fly up and get as much food as they want anytime they need it. The squirrels, however, will have to work for it, because the only way to make it to this platform is if they work their way through my 8-part Ninja Warrior obstacle course, which all starts right here.
How come? Why can't they just jump or like get on some other way?
That has a pole that isn't covered in slippery stuff, which means this is where they have to climb up to enter the course. If they try and get up any other way, they can't keep a good grip, and they just slide back down.
Well, so why didn't he just fucking do that for his original fucking bird feeder, dude? It would have been over.
The challenge is the bridge of instability. Now, this may look easy, but the trick is it attaches at a single point on each end. And from a physics standpoint, that makes it no different than trying to crawl across a tightrope. It's the same deceptive principle with that one carnival game that's so impossible. I broke it down in another video where I used physics to show which carnival games were basically scams and the science on how to beat them. Next up, the maze of 1,000 corridors. This one's a bit more cerebral, but if they make it through that, it will bring them to the pitchfork tumblers,
Jesus
which are inspired
Christ,
by the show Wipeout. But unlike Wipeout, I should point out that all these contraptions are squirrel friendly,
that was amazing.
And even with a little back force, they will break away and stop spinning. Now, if they can make it past the pitchfork tumblers of treachery, they come to one of my personal favorites, the home wrecker. I put her in to tempt the squirrel to lose focus on the real prize at the end of the course. Because this pad has a pressure sensor underneath it, and it connects to a microcontroller that has a relay that connects to a solenoid, that connects to a pneumatic piston, that connects back to this platform with the pressure sensor. And so if they stand here for more than 3 seconds, they've got to start the course all over again.
That's intense, dude. This is like some fucking Siddhartha level temptation
Next
shit.
Up is the sneaky bridge of deception. I've suspended a juicy walnut right in the middle, but there's no way this bridge will support their weight, so it'll be interesting to see how they approach it. The 6th challenge is called the tourist trap. It's actually a bit of a reward for making it this far. If the squirrel sticks their head through this board my wife painted, it's just a photo op they can hang on the wall of their tiny squirrel nest. I'll place a walnut here as an incentive for them not to miss this unique opportunity. The penultimate challenge are the 12 steps of great elevation. This is taken straight from Ninja Warrior, and this is super tricky because these pads are all totally smooth and placed at a 45
This is a good YouTube video, whoever linked this.
And now for the last challenge. At this point, they are a mere few feet away from their ultimate goal, but if they're not careful, they'll have to deal with the orbital assist platform, aka the final countdown, aka it's not a catapult, it's a squirrelapult. Which means they now have to go back.
With the knowledge this guy has, this guy could kill every squirrel in his yard.
And start all the way.
This dude is like a benevolent dictator
From the beginning. Now, if they want to avoid that fate, they just need to stand on this pad for less than 3 seconds. But once again, I've placed a diversion here. This one projects an optical illusion of anything you place in the bottom of this dish. It's actually super trippy and looks even more impressive in real life because the projected image is 3D.
Whoa.
They're like $9 on Amazon, and I put a link that explains the juicy physics of how they work in the video description. Now, with regards to squirrel safety, I know I seem to have this reputation of improvised high-speed projectile.
Yeah, fuck this, dude. Like, this guy, I would never be this guy's enemy.
So this one might worry a few animal lovers out there, including my wife. We have 5 pets and 1 child. And the child was the only one I had a say in. So rest assured, I can adjust the pressure on the piston, and we'll be staying way below any launch force that could hurt any of our adorable backyard contestants. And so finally, after making it through all that, we're back here at the world's most satisfying bird feeder. And as far as I'm concerned, if they make it here, they've earned the right to gorge next to the birds for as long as they want. And so after nearly a month of prep work, the course was officially open for business.
So they try to
smell the walnuts at the final station, and you could see the gears turning because right above that was their favorite bird feeder. And so before long, we had our first contender.
Oh, they try to get up. So do you think the squirrel was able to know that this path would eventually lead there? I mean, he must, because that's why he's starting here.
That didn't exactly go as planned, so Rick decides to regroup. Speaking of which, that's Rick. There are a total of 4 competitors that will be attempting the course. First up is Rick, and he weighs 500 grams.
How do they know
I know
this?
this because he's actually standing on a custom-made scale.
Of course
Rick
he is.
is very clever, as you'll see here in a minute, but he also gets spooked easily. Next up is Marty. He's basically indistinguishable from Rick. Rick and Marty are inseparable and pretty much spend all their time together as a pair. Our third contender is Frank, also coming in around 500 grams. He's very gutsy. He's
Like, of
also
course he
kinda
has a
dumb.
fucking squirrel
Finally,
waiting
we've got
station.
my personal favorite, Fat Gus. He's just really charming and will strike a pose.
We
if
know
he
this
sees
because of my squirrel waiting station.
it. He also really likes to eat, and he tips the scales at an impressive 800 grams. While most of the squirrels are kind of particular before making a selection and then gracefully leaping away, Fat Gus just goes for it, hands free. Just makes himself real comfortable. Here he is laying out with a light snack from the bird feeder. I mean, you can't fault the guy for just clearly appreciating a good meal. So now that you know our 4 contenders, let's get back to Rick.
This
So
is,
he hops back
like,
on, and he's
amazing
actually doing better
content.
than his first attempt.
I love YouTube,
Just
dude.
barely. This is the best because he's like, okay, I got this. Never mind. Well, maybe I... No, I definitely don't. And this was the exact moment I realized I just might be outmatched here.
That's insane.
Marty was watching Rick, and after a quick dip of his toes in the water, adopts his strategy right out of the gate. Oof, so close. But an excellent recovery. And Fat Gus, perhaps predictably, comes up a little short. Which brings us to the Maze of 1,000 Corridors, which, to be honest, they mastered this one pretty quickly.
Yeah, this seems pretty easy.
Here's a solid run from Fat Gus. And now for the pitchfork tumblers of treachery. Marty was like, yeah, that's a hard pass. Fat Gus is just like, abort! Frank is just like, nope. Then he's like, wait a second.
Why they all
Nope.
give up on
Then Marty
this?
flies in real hot over the top.
They just
he didn't
skip
make
it.
through, but that's partial credit as far as I'm concerned. And then here's Fat Gus with my favorite attempt by far.
Oh,
And
he
then
does
Frank
it.
shows no fear, which helps him pull off this near
Holy
flawless run.
shit.
And finally, Smart Rick surgically weaves his way through,
What the
essentially
fuck?
untouched. And I should mention, the squirrels were most active from 6 to 10 a.m. So every morning, I've been getting up before the sunrise to start filming from in my house like one of those camouflage nature photographers. Only like a suburbanized version. I've also had a handful of streaming cameras rolling 24/7, which has allowed me to make such discoveries as, we have the world's worst guard dog. Thanks for the help, pal. Now back
There's
to
a
the
fucking
home
dog.
record.
It doesn't
You
even
can
give a
see
shit.
Rick is instinctively suspicious of this gold digger, and only for a brief moment puts his full weight on the platform.
Wow,
I told you
dude.
he was smart. His buddy Marty, on the other hand,
Most of you would have fallen for this test. Fucked up.
she is a cruel mistress. And because I know my wife is going to ask me, no, this will not hurt the squirrel for 2 reasons. Number 1, they are amazing like cats and always land on their feet. And 2, they themselves were jumping from this height all the time, and in some cases, much higher. In fact, squirrels are one of the few mammals that can survive a fall from any height because they make their terminal velocity so low. You can see it right here. They make their body as flat as possible, then put their tail back to increase drag. They basically become their own parachute. And then right before they land, they pull in and fully extend their arms and legs to act as shock-absorbing landing
This
gear.
guy is married? Yeah,
so
of
cool.
course, dude. Like, this dude probably has his pick, dude. Like, this is an insanely valuable skill set for a man, okay? Like, I can't even build a fucking sandwich, much less a fucking, like, squirrel detention center. Like, this is some fucking crazy shit.
Now back to the course where even
He
smart
built a cage for his wife. He built
Rick
a wife.
eventually lets his
Yeah,
guard
maybe.
down, which is exactly when she strikes. But just like all the other obstacles so far, after a day or 2, they'd mastered
Oh,
it.
it
In
takes
this
a whole
case,
day,
even
though?
disregarding her offering of a fresh walnut. Now on to the Slinky Bridge of Deception.
They
And
know
this
there's
was
more.
the sleeper obstacle in my book. That is not a large gap, which they can easily jump, but having the Slinky there just threw them off somehow. You can see how much Frank is struggling here, and he's the brave one.
That's weird.
And Rick only jumps when Marty shows up for emotional support.
What's really crazy is that they jump when they watch each other jump. That's what's so nuts.
But like all the obstacles so far, after a day or two,
the wife tries to walk into the kitchen for a snack and gets catapulted. That is one of the reasons why, like, I would never date someone like this, because I would never trust them. I would never know when, like, I'm gonna get gotten. You know what I mean? I would just be like walking through my house, and then this fucking bitch would walk out of a fucking closet with a fucking 300-pound super soaker, and I'd be like, I'm done. I just wanted to play Eve. Why do you do this? This is like dating Michael Reeves. It would be terrible. It's like they just like open a door. There's like a robot that fucking like comes at you with like boxing gloves. You're like, this is being
now
ridiculous.
Now, third to last obstacle, the tourist trap. And this one was just a freaking delight. A little peanut butter really did the trick here.
You're not like a SO, you're just an experiment. That's good marketing, the YouTube right there.
Now here comes
He does this because he knows that other people are going to watch his... That's really smart. Holy fuck. What he just did there. My marketing brain can't help it. But like that right there, he does this because he knows that people like me are going to watch these videos. Because it's like really entertaining to like watch with people. So he gets a shout out for his channel, even if he has... Like, even if there's somebody else that's, like, watching the video. Very smart. And then he also does it on, like, one of the most iconic, like, parts of the video, right? Like, they'll take, like, a little screenshot of this, and he knows that, so he's putting it on there.
Now here
really
comes
smart.
Fat Gus. And I mean, how Fat Gus is this? He sees the camera, and he's like, paint me like one of your French squirrels. Yeah? No? No takers? All right. Here's another classic Gus, where he looks at the camera. Wait a second. Play that back. And freeze. Zoom, enhance. Well, turns out Fat Gus is not a dude. And he's pregnant. Which meant I was suddenly feeling real uncomfortable about all those weight comments. So after a bit of a pivot to smooth things over, we soldiered on to the quad steps of great elevation. Frank comes in rather confident, almost to his demise. But he pulls off the smooth recovery.
Damn.
So after not much time at
What's
all,
up,
they were
Desi?
looking pretty good here. In fact, one morning I noticed Marty totally skipped the last step altogether, which I took as a challenge.
They could jump so far.
And so I removed the middle step to see what they would do. And who else but Fantastic Gus? Let's slow that down a bit. They're such amazing jumpers, so I suppose the quick mastery
Imagine
here
a
wasn't
pregnant human doing this.
a surprise. I mean, this right here is probably a 10-foot jump. And here's some classic brave but dumb Frank. He'd already entered the course normally and made it to the home wrecker at least a dozen times by this point. And yet for some reason, he decides this 12-foot jump is his best course of action. And Smart Rick was the first one to enter the course, so in the end, after about a week of effort, it was fitting he was the one to make it to the jackpot first.
Did he
he's
run?
so stoked, he apparently wants to run the whole course in reverse.
He probably
In
just freaked
hindsight,
the
we
fuck
probably
out.
should have made the jackpot a little quieter.
Oh no, he's not.
Here's
He's just
Marty,
leaving.
as always, not far behind.
Dude.
He's also a bit
They're just, like,
flighty,
freaked
as you
out.
know, which worked against him here because down below Fantastic Gus, ever the opportunist, comes through with a real stroke of brilliance.
What?
But pretty soon Marty comes back like, I'm the one who kind of earned that. And then Fantastic Gus is like, you snooze, you lose, sucker. And might I just say, Fantastic Gus, when you sit like that, you don't look an ounce over 700 grams. Eventually they learned that sound was a good thing, and they'd quickly return for their reward before Fantastic Gus got any ideas. So
Bro,
here's
this is a
camera shot of
shit ton of calories, okay? That many walnuts, those squirrels are gonna become fat as fuck. Walnuts are like space-time distortion devices. When I was teaching nutrition, I would give people walnuts that needed to gain weight. They are insane. Like walnut calories per ounce, those are gonna become the world's fattest squirrels. They're 185 calories per ounce. It's fucking insane. And most of it's just saturated fat. It's like so crazy. They are really, 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 really fucking crazy. So to put that in terms, like for people that don't, like a cup of walnuts, so a cup of chopped walnuts is 766 calories. A caramel macchiato at Starbucks is equal to a cup of walnuts. And you can eat a cup of walnuts like that, dude. You won't even know. Like, it's fucking crazy. So a lot of times when people needed to gain weight, because I would have two types of clients. I'd have clients that obviously like wanted to lose weight, or I'd have clients that wanted to gain weight. People that wanted to gain weight, you give them a couple walnuts every day, and they add 800. Like they add 8, and then like you could put other shit on them too. Like you can put butter on your walnuts, or you can like roast them in butter or roast them in honey. And oh my god, dude, like you will get so. This is like it's so crazy. People are like I can't gain weight. These are like the world's fattest squirrels. It's actually fucking insane. That is so many fucking walnuts that squirrel just got. It's not even funny. Holy fuck. That's actually insane.
Fantastic Gus, when you sit like that, you don't look an ounce over 700 grams. Eventually, they learned that sound.
What job haven't you done? I'm just old, dude. When you're fucking old, you do a lot of jobs.
It's a good thing, and they.
Yeah, I used to. So teaching nutrition was one of the first things I used to do. I used to be a PT.
Quickly return for their reward before Fantastic Gus got any ideas. So here's a single camera shot of a full run, and by the end, all of them could do the full course in less than 40 seconds. And while we're watching, you might be wondering what happened to the squirrel put. Unfortunately, they didn't really fall for my illusion much, but I'm about to show you the 2 times they did. And as a promise to my wife, I turned the pressure to only 40% full power, so the acceleration the squirrel would feel is about half a G, which is 10 times less than a typical roller coaster. Additionally, I never turned on either the home wrecker trapdoor or the launch platform when I wasn't actively watching from inside my house.
This guy's so careful,
manual
dude.
override button. Because as safe as it was, something about launching Fantastic Gus just didn't feel right. Now what you're about to see is going to look pretty chaotic, but when we check the slow-mo, amazingly, I'll show you how the squirrel is totally in control pretty much the whole time. Alright, now here's a second
that squirrel's like, fuck that. This is like
also, even if you don't trust my
this is like some Saw shit, dude.
Calculations, I can assure you that the squirrels did not care.
You just made my day. I've been trying to gain weight for years, and I've never tried walnuts. Walnuts are really, really easy, and you won't feel like, okay, because the thing is, a lot of PTs, what they'll tell you is you need to eat a shitload of food, right? So they're like, eat like fucking 50 hamburgers, and like, you just are miserable, right? You're like shoving this piece of chicken into your fucking like mouth, and you're like, please, no, this is the 30th hamburger, and you're like, oh my fucking god. Like, it's miserable, and a lot of PTs will do this. Like, eating a cup of walnuts, you eat calorie-dense food, it feels like you're doing nothing at all. You're just eating walnuts, and you'll barely even notice. Another good way to do this is with pasta. Pasta's really good too. Raviolis or anything like that. Well, like when we were doing Darshan at CLG, I was helping him gain weight, and walnuts were like how you do it. Also, what you cook things in would be matters a lot too. So you can get away with a lot of like hacks to gain weight with oil and butter. Oil and butter. So like, for example, like olive oil, if you add a shitload of olive oil to things, it doesn't really like affect your health that much because olive oil is mostly like good fats and things like that. A lot of omega-3s and things like that. But you can cook things in like a shitload of olive oil. It tastes good, and you can put butter in it too, and you'll get healthy fats, and you'll get omega-3s. And you can even also get those fucking like super pretentious butters from World Market, which are like butters that are blessed by like a fucking German sheep herder or something, and they have like special properties, so you get all the good fats and stuff like that. And if you add those to everything you cook, you can add a ton of calories, like probably like 700, 800 calories just off of olive oil and butter and cooking everything. So I do this because I eat salads every day, and I'll add garlic flavored olive oil because garlic is a really good antioxidant and it's just tons of health benefits. So I'll get garlic flavored olive oil, and then I get it from QFC. So I think you can do like this is literally exactly what I buy. And so it'll just be olive oil with garlic in it, and the garlic's at the bottom, and it steeps in the garlic in the olive oil. I'll pour this over my salad, and then I'll make the salad, and then I'll cook whatever I'm cooking, like chicken or fish in butter. And so like the salad and the salmon wouldn't be enough calorically to get me through the day, but because I'm adding these other condiments and I'm doing it in a healthy way, I'm increasing the caloric load without adding sugars or anything like that. So if you're gaining weight, these are good things to do.
In both launch cases, they were back up on the course in like 5 minutes. Here's the slow-mo, and see if you can spot the 2 critical things he does to make sure he lands feet down. Did you catch it?
Who has problems eating? Dude, a lot of people. You'd be surprised. There's a lot of people that have like a fucking rip shit metabolism, and they are like unable to gain weight no matter how much they eat. And they just like look like skinny fat, like DYEL. And it's actually just as bad as being overweight, because there's such a thing as being like, you can be really out of shape and be skinny. A lot of people don't understand this, but like, there's a lot of people that you'd be surprised. You get like a 20-year-old kid. I like, they're a client of mine because they're like, parents give me to them or something, or like a 16-year-old kid. And I take them on a run and they are fucked. Like they can't even get up a staircase. They're out of breath. And it's because like your cardiovascular system isn't relative to your weight. Now it is to an extent, because if you have to carry more weight, your body has to work harder to expend those resources. But you'd be really surprised how often like a person who is super skinny, like they would run up a flight of stairs, they'd be out of breath. Because the way that your cardiovascular system develops is more dependent. There's a lot of like weird, dumb sciencey shit that no one cares about. But like the way your cardiovascular system develops is by the relative CO2, the relative CO2 expulsion and your VO2 max. So like the basically the way to understand is the efficiency at which your lungs are able to convert oxygen to carbon dioxide. And this is why people that are getting hit really bad with COVID-19, it's a respiratory illness, right? So if they don't work out and they don't have a good cardiovascular system, they're getting fucked, because the having a respiratory illness is like having pressure, working out all the time. It's like your heart rate goes up, your cardiovascular system is being taxed. So if you don't have that training, then your response to COVID is likely to be much more severe, because you're very likely to like not have your cardiovascular system work efficiently. How much education did you get as a PT? The only thing you need to get as a PT is there's 2 different certifications. You can get either ACE certified, or there's one other. I don't remember what it is. I was ACE certified. And I say was because you have to renew it. And I just stopped renewing it at some point when I stopped having clients. But there's 2 like official certifications that you need to like be an actual PT. And like I didn't really get anything out of my ACE certification. Not really. I'm not talking about physical therapy, okay? I'm talking about being a PT as a physical trainer. It's completely different. No one's talking about physical therapy. Stop telling me I'm wrong. Like, I literally did this as a living. You don't know what you're talking about. Okay, good. All right. So, like, ACE certification doesn't teach you anything. You mostly just learn this stuff. I learned a lot of it on the job. I read a lot of books. Like, I learned a lot about it just from training people, watching people, seeing results, things like that. Yeah, stuff like that. What would you recommend to slowly build up your VO2 max? Like, run. Just like literally go on runs. Anything that taxes your cardiovascular system. If you are very low, a lot of people don't know, if you are really low cardiovascular system, your cardiovascular system is really bad, you can actually lift weights and you'll get a cardiovascular workout. As long as you're not taking too long of rests, you'll build a cardiovascular workout out of lifting weights. If your rests are like even like 30 seconds, if you're doing sets and you're working hard, you'll actually get a very good cardiovascular workout after as a result of lifting weights. But pretty much anything, like start walking, stuff like that, anything. I just run, but my cardiovascular system's already pretty good.
The first critical moment is right here. He's already done the predictive math, and he's locked his head on the spot where he plans to land. And now his head will not lose that lock the whole way down. What's crazy is the time it takes him to do all the predictive math to know exactly where he will land and to lock his head is 300 milliseconds. That's exactly this long, literally less than the blink of an eye. That blows my mind, but if you think about it, it makes sense.
You missed an opportunity to put subscribe there.
Razor sharp if you live your life in the trees, constantly making split-second decisions. Now, besides picking the landing spot with his head, the second trick is with his arms. When he wants to keep his upper body from rotating, he has his arms out. But the moment he wants to rotate his upper body quickly, he tucks them in.
Yeah, one of the best things you can do, I mean, COVID ultimately is like a fucking shit show. Obviously, the best thing you can do is like wear masks and things like that. But one of the things you can do is you can definitely, you can definitely improve your cardiovascular system.
And then when he wants to stop rotating, he extends them out again. This is straight up conservation of angular momentum. It's the same trick ice skaters use. Basically, bring your limbs in if you want to rotate fast, extend them out if you want to slow the rotation. My buddy Destin from Smarter Everyday also made a video analyzing how cats always land on their feet, and they do the exact same two tricks: the head target lock and bringing limbs in to rotate and out to stop rotation. Here's the second launch. And this may look like pure luck in real time, but the slow-mo tells
A lot of PTs are upset. Why?
a different story. In that amount of time, he's already made a slight lateral push in that direction and locked his landing target with his head.
Damn, that was
We
actually
know from the previous clip he can rotate his body
insane.
to any orientation, but he doesn't in this case because he sees his small push has already aligned him for the perfect landing. That's just so cool. And so after those two physics demonstrations,
Gyms are closed. Oh, I didn't even do any of my PT at gyms because they always would take a huge percentage. So a lot of PT people did gym stuff, but like gyms would take like 20 to 40% of your income as a PT. So I would end up just going to people's houses and I'd bring equipment. And that was a lot better. Cause like I wouldn't have to take a percentage there. I could just charge them straight. So I just did stuff like I actually used Google Ads. This is how I got all my PT clients. Funny enough, because like if people remember my first business was I did ebooks, and so I used that skill and I used Google Ads and I used like really like fucking like rip shit dumb fucking titles like get jacked in like 30 days or less guaranteed whatever, and I'd have like people click on them, and like all my clients were like 50 plus years old and shit. But occasionally they'd have like a kid do it and things like that. And I would clickbait people into buying my PT courses. When I hear PT, I think physical therapy. No, physical therapy is actually, you need like a lot of skills to be a physical therapist. It's pretty hard. I don't know exactly what you need, but it's very difficult. I don't have skills in physical therapy. That's some weird magic shit. But PT is basically just helping people become healthy. Is there a lot of money in PT? I mean, personal training is pretty. It's something that anybody can get into at an entry level. I mean, keep in mind, I was a lot younger. I was like younger than you guys at this age. But like, I think I charged $50 an hour, and I think I went up to 75 before I stopped the business. So it was pretty good. You'd like work out with someone with like 2 hours.
I disabled both the launcher and the home wrecker trapdoor and just let them enjoy the course in peace. As far as I was concerned, they had earned it. Plus, after spending a month together, we were sort of bros by this point. If they saw me coming out to work, they would certainly jump away, but then they'd just quickly be right back. And
always the full sentence people, dude.
sadly, all good things must come to an end, and because I didn't want them to develop an unhealthy dependence on my handouts, after about a week of free
The reason why I was covering the Jeff Bezos congressional hearings is because it's directly related to business and the tech industry.
rain, I took down the course, but in its place, I put up a specialized squirrel-sized picnic table. Every morning, this door opens to release just a few walnuts as a little treat to remind them of our good times together. Although I had to laugh that after all this, somehow I didn't anticipate on day one, Frank would immediately try and figure out and partially succeed in finding a way to beat the system. Like everything else though, they quickly caught on, and now on some mornings I'll catch them just waiting for the daily ration, chilling patiently on the bench seat. That is everyone but Fantastic Gus. Don't ever change, buddy. When I started this 2-month-long adventure trying to bird watch, I had no idea I would enjoy squirrel watching so much more. It's also made me realize that even amongst the structures and pavement and power lines, how interesting nature can be in a single suburban backyard.
I like Chatterino because you can literally time people out based on infraction. And so like in the normal Twitch thing, you can only time people out for 10 minutes. But Chatterino, dude, you can time people out for like literally like 3 days, 2 weeks, whatever. And it's amazing. Dude, possums are real shit, man. I saw one of those fuckers when I was walking in LA like late at night one time, and I thought it was like a fucking armored rat, and I fucking noped the fuck out of there, dude. Like that thing,
power lines.
Those things are
How
serious shit. This
nature
thing, dude, fuck that. If you see that shit at night, like,
can be in a
I'm
single
out.
suburban backyard if you
like
just really
that was some Warhammer
stop to
40K
look.
shit, dude.
Even
Like
the plants are amazing. I had
Like-
no idea that as vines grow, they spin around looking for something to grab onto. I didn't anticipate the wide variety of animals that use fences as inter-yard highways to get around as a substitute for all the trees that existed before we got here. Even little interactions like this spider extending his life with this very timely leap into the unknown were just so
Whoa.
delightful to see. But of all the animals, I can definitively say now out that squirrels are my absolute favorite, and they're certainly a more formidable adversary than porch pirates. They're kind of adorable, incredibly crafty, curious by nature, athletic, and persistent. Turns out squirrels can live to be 20 years old, and so I like to think that someday Fantastic Gus will bring his grand squirrels to the fence and regale them with tales of cowboys and courage and legendary walnut piles.
That was a very legit video. I will link this video so that you may subscribe, as I wish to support this content creator, and you should too. That was very cool. This is a truly good content creator. Sometimes you find like a master, and it's really, really cool. The people that put this work into their YouTubes and everything, like that, like really, really spend months and months and months to actually like produce something. Unlike like this asshole who literally just does like a fucking talk and then links it up to their fucking YouTube channel.